Okay, here we have another lab. This lab is also about enzymes, but more so it's about the scientific method. So what I have here is I have two different types of yogurt. Okay, I have a Greek yogurt, which is pasteurized. Pasteurized yogurt, they heated this stuff up a lot. And remember what we said about heat? Kind of kills off enzymes. When you kill off enzymes, you kill off whatever critters are in it. In this Dannon, it's just whole milk plain yogurt. Well, in this one, if I read on the back on the ingredients, it says contains active yogurt cultures, including L. acidophilus, which means it is basically a lactobacillus that it likes acid, like an acidic thing. So there's actually, inside of this, there's little bacteria, and those bacteria have a job, and their job is they like to make yogurt. Now, in this Greek yogurt, we don't have any of that. So we talked about temperature before, so let's set up an experiment. There's going to be a lot of questions on this experiment. I have these jars, it says warm. So I have jars warm 1. Oops, I got these mixed up a little bit. Cold, 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 warm, warm. So this one is, put this one here. Okay, so here I have cold 1, cold 2, cold 3, warm 1, warm 2, and warm 3. Now you might want to make your own little table to try to follow what we're doing with this. Well, where I'm going to start is I'm going to put milk in all of these, and the ones that are warm, I'm going to take inside, I'm going to put them in the microwave, warm them up, and then wait until their temperature comes down to about 105 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're going to work on that. So let's start with the milk. And this milk is cold now. Here, look, I'll show you. That was good. Okay, so let's see if we can fill these guys up here. We'll try to fill them up to about the same spot. Okay, so notice now I have 6 jars, and they all have approximately the same amount of milk in them. At least I did my best to pour that. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take a break right now. I'm going to take these 3 in, put them in the microwave, warm them up till they're just over 100 degrees. And that's when you basically touch something and it feels warm. That's the same thing I did in our bread making experiment earlier. So I'm going to take off now. Probably be back in about 10 minutes to me, no time to you. Be right back. Okay, I'm going to go through this experiment here, and then I'm going to, after I go through this experiment, I'm going to attach a video also that's on scientific method. And I'm going to ask you questions about this experiment. So make sure you're paying attention and writing down what I'm doing to each jar. All right. So here I have cold 1, 2, and 3, warm 1, 2, and 3. I tested the temperature of the warm ones. They are 105 degrees Fahrenheit. That is called quantitative data because it has a quantity. Qualitative data would be, is it red, is it blue, is it something, like that. so I have the quantitative data. Now, what I am going to do is, in jar number 1, on both of these, I'm doing nothing. So why am I doing nothing on those? That's a question. Now, in jar number 2, I'm going to take this yogurt that does not have any active cultures in it, which means there's no bacteria in this whatsoever. And I'm going to, in this, put a spoon in jar number 2 there. I'll do a second one. And then in my warm, I'm going to put 2. Again, there are no active, that one's a little bit light, let me add a little bit more. There are no active cultures in these. Now, in jar number 3 of each of these, I'm going to add another spoon, and this has the active cultures. Now, plain yogurt is not my favorite thing, but I usually buy it this way and then I add my own fruit to it. So there I have 2 spoons in the cold, and now I'm going to have 2 spoons in the warm. Now, just to keep everything the same, active cultures mean they're alive. So living things generally need to breathe. So I'm going to take like a little cloth just to keep these clean. I'm going to screw this cloth right on the top of this here. So there's cold 1. Remember, cold 1 has nothing in it. Here is cold number 2. And cold number 2 has the pasteurized yogurt without any active yogurt cultures. Here's jar number 3. Jar number 3 is the cold milk, with the yogurt that has the active cultures in it. Again, I would suggest you write these down and put them in a table. So now I'm on warm 1, which just has warm milk and frankly nothing else. That jar lid is no good. Now I have warm 2. Again, that has the yogurt without active cultures. Now I have warm sample 3, and warm sample 3 again has warm milk and active yogurt culture. So right now I kind of want you to hypothesize, and I'm going to put this in the question here. What do you think is going to happen to each of these jars? Now this is one of those think questions. So when you answer it, say like jar cold 1, I think this. Cold 2, I think this. Cold 3, I think this, but make sure you write it like that. And then warm 1, I think this. Warm 2, I think this. And warm 3, I think this. You can't ever be marked if somebody asks you to make a hypothesis, because if that's what you think, that is what you think. But just try to give me your best guess. You might be right at the end, and it does, I'll be honest, it feels good to be right. So what I'm going to do with these jars now is I am going to take them inside. I'm going to find a warm, dark place, well, room temperature, kind of warm, and I am going to store them in the dark for 24 hours. And then in 24 hours, we're going to see what happens to all of these. So we'll be back after 24 hours. I'll see you guys then.